Hey, good morning, guys. It's Simon. It's a Saturday morning, about 10 a.m. Doing a trade review for ES and NQ, specifically on the trap trade. So let me show you what a trap trade is first, and I'll do ES first, and I'll do NQ second. It's one of three, let's call it four total trades that we run in the room. We recycle the same four trades over and over. And so a trap trade is described quite simply. It works both long and short as a bar that has one of these little triangles on top. Right, and what we want to see is that triangle get broken simply with price, right? So if I put a line right at the top, you can see right over here to the left that price does not have to close above. It simply has to wick above on the bar. Price closes above. Then your entry is on the close back in. So it's this bar right here. And then how do we define success? So the risk on this trade is normally somewhere between 4 and 7 points. If you use the absolute proper stop, your entry on this specific trade, let me make this wider. Your entry on this specific trade would be 36.8975. Your stop would be 36.9475. So whether you're trying to trade with the trend and shorting on a pullback, or you're trying to pick off the turns back to the upside, the trade works out either way. So in this case, some of the members in the room simply use a 4-point stop. It says if it retraces more than 4 points from my entry, I want out. The proper stop is actually 1 point behind. So it's 36.8975 against 36.9575. So let's call it 6 points, right? So a 1-to-1 RR obviously would be 6 points, and that's one way to measure it. And clearly on this trade, if you entered on 89.75, you would need, 6 points. Let's just call it 94. So you need 84, and that gets accomplished right here. However, I will tell you right now, I do not go for a 1-to-1 RR in ES. I generally scale at 3 points. Why? Because it hits about 80 to 90% of the time, right? And then I leave my trailer. So if you had two contracts, some people simply always exit at 3 or 4 points. Others, to get the RR, use a 4-point stop and a 4-point target. That also works as well. The important part of this is it's a very high win rate, and the majority of them do get the 1-to-1 RR or greater. Okay, so second thing, we don't trade before 9 o'clock. So we're going to start this count after 9 a.m. This happened to be non-farm payrolls. I hate trading non-farm payrolls. So let me tell you some of the other benefits really quick of the trade. First of all, it forces you to wait. You don't have to constantly trade in and out of the market, right? Because two things have to happen. Let's say you wanted to short, right? So the first thing you have to have for the short, if the market is going down as it is in this picture, right? As the market's going down in this picture, the first thing you have to have is the market lift up and form an algo, which turns into an apex, right? So that's step one. And then if you still want to short, right, you have to wait till it comes all the way over and sets up again. So if you look at this trade here specifically, right, but let's say you wanted to short, you thought the market was going to go down, and it's 9 o'clock. Well, until you actually get your trade set up, it was another hour. Now, was that good or bad? In my book, it's good. You didn't have to trade 100 different times. You didn't have to guess. There are other algo setups here, but I'm just focusing on the ones we focus on the room because it's the path to quickest profitability and sustainable profitability, right? So I put a line right on top of that bar, and then at 9:47, you'll see it come up. Now I want to make a point about this. That 9:50 to 10 o'clock has been working very well. Actually, I won't go into that. I'll cover that in the room. I'm making a small change in the trade rules. So at any rate, long story short, here's your first trade. So let's just do a trade count. First, we'll do all the shorts, then we'll do all the longs. See how it worked out, right? So you'll see this never got stopped out. Your original entry would have been right here, 36.90 roughly. And on the initial push down, it extended down to 36.83. And obviously, it rolled over quite hard to the downside. So we're going to keep going with this idea. This was not a trap. None of this was a trap. That was trap one, and it worked out just fine. This is what I would call an aggressive trap because it never got to the fourth channel, but you'll see right here, if you wanted to, what I call stacking a trade or adding to a trade or just initiating, right? And you're certain, you have to be certain it's a trend down. Here's the apex, right? Here's the stop out. You'll notice the ones that work best have the algo, the little white square or pink bar or a star underneath them. Get stopped out. Here's the trap back in. Oops, excuse me. That's trade 2. And it will make me rethink not trading non-farm payrolls, frankly. And it obviously rolls to the downside. So that's 2 trades, 2 wins, right? So as we continue to go through that process, this is on ES only. Here's the next trap right here, right? That obviously paid to that side. That's 3 for 3. So you're coming down here. This, I don't know if it trapped. Let's see. No trap. Did it close back into this bar? That counted. So there's 4 for 4. Obviously, all the downside trades are probably going to work pretty nicely here. That's going into 2 o'clock. So 4 trades, 4 winners. And then as you come in here, you see towards the end of the day, I would have never taken this trade, but it did trap right here at the end of the day. So 4 trades, 4 traps, 4 winners. It's a pretty slow day, actually, but all 4 of them paid, right? Now, if you look at the other way, let's go to the long side and see what panned out. Again, after 9 o'clock, right? And part of the benefit of this is this usually keeps you out of deep trouble when the market's rotating hard to the downside. So none of this trapped over here if you were looking for a long, right? So remember, every system has a plus or minus. If you thought this was long over here and you didn't take it, remember, we're trading the process, not the market, right? The goal is consistent profitability, not consistent trading in terms of trading over and over and again or capturing every move. We just want to capture that we have a high degree of confidence will make us profitable. This is your first trap right here, your first long at about 10:45. It did get you to profit, right? Obviously, you could tell that we were pretty heavy down to the downside. Your entry would have been 76. Stop would have been 71. Again, 5 to 7 points depending on the bar. And the absolute best you could have done would have been 81, which is still 5 points on that entry. Again, we discussed more advanced entry methods and buying if it pulls back into the bar within the rim, right? So there's trade 1. Here's trade 2. This would have been a loss on the long side, which is just fine. It doesn't have to work on every trade, right? Your entry would have been right here at 57. Again, usually 3 to 4 points. And say, oh, you know what? It's 58 to 61. So you would have gotten your 3-point scale out of that. I would have lost money on that if I was trading it because I would have tried to shoot it to the other side. Everyone in the room knew that the market was trading to the downside. So that was pretty late in the day. I don't think anyone was confused there. And then you get another trap right over here as you're coming in. So this bar doesn't trap, right? So I'm going to this bar now right here. So here's your entry. And again, your entry would have been 36.51.75. Members in the room, you can see how you could have improved that. And it rolled up. The best you could have been done would have been 58. That's still 7 points to the long side. So I'm going to count that as 2 winners and 1 loser because I personally would have never scaled the other trade. I don't think I would have taken it long either, but I would have never scaled it. And that's the last trade that set up to the long side. So even trading long in that down market, you would have ended up profitable for Friday, if not a little bored on the long side. Obviously, short side worked better than long. And if you combine the two, it would have worked out very nicely, right? So now let's go do NQ. And again, the goal being precision. So I go through this so that I want to do 2 reasons. So I do not like trading non-farm payrolls. So the purpose of this particular exercise, I had a very good Thursday, right? The purpose of this exercise is to reinforce in me what my process is and how to stay on that process. I want to say that again. I want to reinforce what my process is and how to stay on that process, right? So the entire structure of the room, the entire structure of my trading is designed for me to stay profitable and for the members in the room to stay profitable and consistent, right? So I got a little burnt out on running the room, and we had a bunch of new members, and I've been coaching a lot one-on-one. And so I haven't been doing a lot of videos. This is my first chance to do a video. So my goal this weekend is to go through every day, Friday, Thursday, Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, with this simple 1 trade setup, which we call the apex trap, right? That simple one setup with the apex trap, and not go any further than that to show exactly that if you follow one process, you can win again and again. So let's do the same way we did with the ES. Let's start on the short side. We're going to start. Let's erase all this. This is a different trade. Let's start with the 9 a.m. trade, and we're going to go to the short side. So here's 9 a.m. and there's nothing to do. Your first trade sets up actually at 9:57 a.m. I'm going to go to the very tippy top of that bar. You can see it stopped it out just by a tick. Here, let me make that big so everyone can see it. Stops it out by one little tick. Your entry would have been right here at 11.24950. Your stop is usually 15 to 17 points, so that's 11. Let's just call it a 264. So let's just say 50 to 64 would have been, that's about 15 points on that trade. And obviously it rolled over from there, but immediately your most immediate downside, if you nailed it perfectly on the first rotation down, would have been 11.231. All I need is 10 or 15 points on the first scale. That's almost a 1-to-1 consistently, and generally on the trailers, I'm shooting for 2-to-1 or better on the trade. So that entry would have been a 49 to 31. If you do the math on an NQ Mini, that's 50 to 30. That's $400 a contract. Again, some people, that's all the trade they need. As you roll to the right, again, we're looking for shorts, and you'll see no trade setup happen, and that's okay. Sometimes, right, you had that one short, and if you had the vision to push it down, it just didn't set up short. That's all right. Sometimes that happens. It was getting pounded hard to the downside. This is your next short, and it's aggressive because it's down below the top of this channel. But here's your next trade. We're going to assume a 15-point stop there. Your entry would have been right at the bottom of this purple algo bar. So your entry is right here. And again, your entry would have been 17. Your stop would have been about, let's just call it 34. So that's 17 points in this particular case on that stop. That's about the biggest the stop gets. And you can see if you nailed it perfectly to the downside, which no one does, right? We're just looking at the extensions here. 11.087 from 11.117. So that's 17. Let's just call that 20, 30 points of rotation. You would have gotten 10, 20, and 30 on your scales. And again, when you're pushing below that channel, you should be looking for the setups anyways. And then you'll see right here, right at the end of the day, coming in, here's this apex over here to the left. It's still valid. There's two apexes you could have trapped on, either this apex over here to the left or this apex over here right around 130. Trap back in, and obviously that's about a 50-point rotation. None of the short setups on Friday failed. I wish I'd been more willing to trade looking back on it, but this is why I do my homework so I can go and see where my successes were and where my failures were, right? Now, let's go to the long side. We would expect some stops here, right, if we were trading. So let's go see if that was true or how it turned out. Obviously, that's the fear on hard trend day down. So trade number one would not have occurred until, actually, I say right here, right at 10:07. And had you taken that long? So guys, in an up market or even a balanced market, this is a great trade, right? So I'm speaking specifically to members in the room. That is a fantastic market. That is a fantastic trade. If you took the push back in, for some of my traders will add or wait for the push back in, which means you miss out on some of the trades, but that's fine. You clearly got at least 10 points, but I'm going to count this as a loser. And let's count this as a minus, just for round numbers, minus 15 points. We'll just say that was a loser, first trade. So first trade a loser, right? This trade, I don't think it closed back in on the left. Did not, nowhere close. This trade did close back in. So I'm looking right here from apex with a little dot. There's the next trap. This one, obviously, you were able to attain your first scale and get your risk off, right? Your entry would have been 84. The maximum you could have gotten out of that would have been 03, but let's just round numbers. It's 15 to 20 points on the P&L before the trade stopped off, so you at least cut your risk off. And if you couldn't tell, we were in trend down at that point. You got bigger problems than whether you can whether you have the appropriate trade, right? So let's just call one win, one loss. about break even, maybe a little bit down for the day still, right? And remember, you're trading long into a trend day down. Here's your next trade right here, right? See how I'm doing the same thing over and over again? Trade to the left, trade to the right. I know it's coming, right? I can already see that this got formed. The only thing that's delayed is that little blue triangle. That one particular algo takes 3 bars to show up, right? So it shows up right about here, right? And I go, oh, there's my little blue triangle to the downside. If it trades below either wicks or closes, then closes back in on 1 bar, I'm good to go. Obviously, that trade played you your 15 and 20, and you got out quite easily. Here's your next trap right here. This actually lets you, let me erase the lines. So that's 3, and now you're profitable on the day about noon. Here's your next trade, right? And if you took this trade, this is a stop. I'm going to call that a loss. Again, you had to be able to tell that we were getting crushed. I don't think anyone in the room was trading alongside, but let's just look at the numbers in the raw, right? If you took this, I'm going to count this minus 15. You're about break even on the day again. Here's your next trap. This one got you to break even. Right, here's your entry. Let's see what the most you get. Maybe not, actually. Let's see, 24 to 34. You got a 10-point scale, and that's it. I'm going to count that either a break even or a loss. And let's go ahead and count it as a loss. Why not? I don't feel any pressure to say, hey, you know, every single trade works. It got profitable, but it would have stopped you. I don't think anyone at 1 o'clock was under the illusion that we were reversing down there, but whatever. It was a trade setup. Let's say you're down now 15 points on the day. Right, so you're going to go look to the right. This does not trap back. Nothing over here traps back in again. And then at the low of the day, the next trap would have occurred. No one in the room would have taken it. Actually did not. That was the last setup. So had you traded the process to the long side only, you ended up about minus 15 for the day. That's pretty reasonable, guys, and something that's really worth noting. Now let's go do the shorts. All right, we'll say the best for last because this day was actually a bonanza on the short side, and I wish I'd been more aggressive. So my first short, this is all Central Time, is going to show up right over here. I don't know if I counted the shorts yet on NQ. I think I did. So obviously, here's your entry. That's a 50 entry. It's about a 62 stop, 12 points in this case. And obviously, that paid you as long as you held it. Like, it just rolled, right? No other short setup coming through here. All the way down, no short setup comes until right here. Here's your next short setup. Maybe I already covered this. If this is the second time I'm covering the shorts, I apologize. I get a little Mr. Magoo sometimes. Here's your next short setup right here on the purple bar that obviously paid. And then here's your next short setup. I got a feeling I covered this already. I know I did. So apologize. That was the second time through. Same thing. So that covers Friday's trap trade. That's one of the basic trades we have in the room. The algo did an amazing job this week getting people profitable and keeping people profitable. If you have any questions, come join us in the room. You can reach me right here, and you're welcome to ask any of the members if what I say in the videos is accurate. But you will see person after person tell you that they've gone from losing money and consistently boom-bust cycles to consistency. So first comes stop losing money, then comes some consistency, and then you really start to catch the nuances and the trading size, and you build up trading size over time, same trade repeated over and over again, and you get killed. That's how you get a hold of me, TRADENPERFORM@gmail.com. Hope this helped you guys. I will try to get to Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday as soon as I can in between family obligations. I hope everyone here has a great weekend. Looking forward to next week. The trading should be great. And I need to reconsider whether I want to trade on non-farm payrolls or not. I didn't yesterday, but I think I need to go back and re-examine. So anyways, talk to y'all in a little bit, guys. Have a great day.